After a night of passion, Petra and James wake up early in the morning. Petra quickly leaves for her classes, while James decides to linger in bed a bit longer. Unfortunately, this causes him to wake up late, and he arrives late to his philosophy class. Mr. Zutt considers not letting him in, but eventually opens the door. It was the last day of school, and Zimothy decided to test his students' critical thinking skills with exercises. He asks them to share their favorite paradoxes, and they oblige. Chips talks about the infinite monkey theorem, which claims that a monkey with a typewriter and eternity could write a novel. Georgina mentions the paradox of blissful ignorance, in which a person is hanging from the tallest tower in the city on purpose to see if their friends would help. Still, their friends are afraid they might fall, so they walk away. The person survives the fall, but now wonders whether it's better to know the truth about their friends or live in ignorance. For the final exercise, Zimothy proposes a scenario where they must assume that a nuclear apocalypse is imminent and imagine a bunker with provisions for only 10 people. The class of 20 must decide who enters and who remains outside. Georgina and Petra refuse to play the game, but Zimothy threatens to lower James's grades if Petra doesn't participate. She has no choice but to stay. Zimmy distributes the cards of destiny to his students, each bearing a different profession. Some are lucky, while others are doomed. Toby draws the card of the poet and proudly announces his literary achievements, but Imite cuts him off. Poetry is useless in a post-apocalyptic world, he says. He reveals that he's also part of the game, but his card is a mystery. It could be anything, he claims, a blessing or a curse. The students must decide who among them deserves to enter the bunker, humanity's refuge. They vote one by one, choosing those with skills that can help them survive and rebuild. The rejected ones are sent away, their hopes shattered. The last spot comes down to Zimothy and Utami, the singer. Zimothy narrowly wins, and they have 5 minutes to bid their final goodbyes. But then, they hear the sound of death, the sound of bullets tearing through flesh and bone. Zimothy has killed all those left behind, saying it was the kindest thing to do. The survivors are horrified, and Petra whispers to James that they can't let Imite into the bunker. He's a monster, she says. James nods and devises a plan. He tells everyone to gather plants before entering the bunker, claiming they'll need them later. While they're busy with their tasks, he secretly visits each of them and explains his plan. They cross the threshold of the metal tomb, sealing their fate with a click, leaving behind a solitary figure in the desert, clutching a secret that could save or condemn them. Inside, they explore their new home, a parody of life with fake plants, fake lights, fake comforts. James and Petra find solace in each other's arms, whispering promises of survival. But when James sleeps, Petra's eyes turn to the window, where Imite's face slowly decays. He holds a sign indicating he holds the key to their escape. She calls the others, and a mental dispute ensues. Is he mad? They decide to ignore him and wait out the year. But the year is long and dull, and they feel like caged animals. Every day, Petra checks on Imite, hoping for a sign. But all she sees is his corpse being devoured by a stray dog. When the year finally ends, they rush to the door, impatient to breathe fresh air again. But the door is locked, and Zimothy's sign was true. They try to break the door, hack it, even blow it up, but nothing works. They are running out of food, water, and hope. James decides to end their misery with dignity. In class, Zimothy reveals his true identity. He was the builder of the bunker and the only one who knew the code to set them free. The students plead for another chance and choose a new location, Mount Bromo. Zimothy reaches for a gun, and Petra notices something. She realizes the cards have another hidden trait that could change everything. They must decide who lives and who dies. James is spared because he is clever. Georgina is rejected because she has the plague, even though she can cure it. Plume is saved because she carries a bag of gold, even though it's worthless. Chips is welcomed because he can shape wood, even though he cannot father children. Petra is rescued because she can build and wire, even though she has no one to love. Poppy is abandoned because she cannot conceive, even though she can soothe spirits. Jack is kept because he won the genetic lottery, even though he has nothing else to offer. Nelson is accepted because Petra says they need more boys, and Homoster says they need more middle-class workers. The chosen ones run for their lives and reach the metal tomb in time, sealing themselves in. Their lives start anew that night. Petra wakes up alone and goes to find James. She discovers him in Jack's arms, who is not what he seems. She feels a stab in her heart and runs to tell the others. They gather to discuss how they'll start a new life. Chips is spared because he is not fertile. Jack and James refuse because they have no love for women. Petra agrees to sleep with Zimith to upset James, whom she loves. While the world outside burns, the three pairs grow closer. But after 10 weeks, no one is pregnant. Zimith suggests they swap partners and women have more than one man. Bonnie disagrees, saying they've gone too far with their logic and she has the right to refuse. Zimith leaves and returns with a gun, ordering everyone but Bonnie to leave the room. He escapes, but Jack hides behind a corner when Zimith momentarily looks away. Jack jumps on him and makes him drop the gun. Bonnie grabs it and points it at Zimith, but the men continue to fight until Imite overpowers Jack. Jack stabs Zimith's ear with a pen, causing him to bleed and cry. Zimith goes to the door and enters the code, opening their tomb and sealing their losses. The class had failed the exercise again, and James had smelled a trap. He rushed to the desk, seized the box, dodging Zim's hand. He opened it and found the truth. The box had secret compartments and their cards had been tampered with. They were still doomed to be the same as before. Nurse James demanded to know why Amit hated him so much, and Amit told him a story. The tale of a man who lived in a cave, chained to a wall, seeing only shadows and hearing only echoes. He thought it was reality until the day he was freed, and saw the true things that cast the shadows and echoes. He realized his world was a lie. Amit said he wanted to free James from his own cave, his privilege that blinded him to harsh reality. But James didn't believe him. Zimothy could have made him insignificant, like a florist, easily dismissed. But a gay farmer meant that Zimothy wanted him to suffer slowly. They tried again, and this time, James and Petra imagined an island paradise where the end of the world was still a distant threat. Zimmy went to the bunker to get a weapon, as he always did. He heard a noise but shrugged it off. He came out and Petra hugged him. She said she knew he had been through a lot, and then she asked everyone to let her decide who would go to the bunker because she had a plan. They agreed, and Petra made her choices, explaining why. With only 2 spots left, Petra chose James, the handsome rebel who had caused a ruckus in the bunker. He aimed a rifle at Zimothy's head. Zimith revealed his true identity and genuine feelings for Petra. He tried to bargain for his life, claiming he was the only one who knew the exit code. Bonnie, the intelligent and loyal friend, had memorized it during their last race. Zimith had no choice but to leave. Petra wanted to give the last spot to Bonnie, but she refused, saying she had a family to protect. James, whose preferences had changed in this version of the exercise, asked Petra to join them, but she declined. She said she would take the boat and try to find a safe place beyond the radiation zone. However, Chips had the keys to the boat and quickly pushed Petra inside the bunker, sacrificing himself for her. While the others rushed to the boat to escape, Petra remembered the good moments they had in the bunker, playing cards, drinking wine, performing Shakespeare, and writing poems. James confesses his love for Petra, but she hesitates to respond. He believes the world has come to an end, but he finds a new beginning in the underground shelter. Russell and Utami transform the broken machines into musical instruments, including a harp that sings with the wind. They fill their nights with melody and dreams, forgetting the horrors on the surface. A year passes and they learn the truth. There was no apocalypse, only a test. Zimothy, their teacher, had deceived them into believing they were the last survivors of a nuclear war. He wanted to see how they would cope, how they would use their intelligence and skills to rebuild civilization. But Petra and the others had a different vision. They had found happiness and peace on the island and were ready to embrace death if it came. They refused to let Imite ruin their paradise, so they stood up to him. He had a gun, but they had courage. They pressed the button that would set everything ablaze, and Lille erupted in flames. There was no apocalypse. It was only a test. Zimuth, their teacher, had deceived them, making them believe they were the last survivors of a nuclear war. He wanted to see how they would cope, how they would use their intelligence and skills to rebuild civilization. But Petra and the others had a different vision. They had found happiness and peace on the island and were ready to embrace death if it came. They refused to let Imite ruin their paradise. So they stood up to him. He had a gun, but they had courage. They pressed the button that would set everything ablaze, and Lille erupted in flames. But that's not the end of the story. There's another version told by Chips, the group's joker. He claimed to have escaped the explosion with 6 women on a boat and was living the ultimate fantasy. He said that Kavi, Nelson, and Andy had died in various accidents, leaving him as the sole surviving male. He boasted that he could have any woman he wanted, even if they were infertile. He turned it into a comedy, but it was really a tragedy. The real tragedy, however, is Mimi's fate. He survived in a cave, searching for food and water, losing everything: his students, his experiment, his purpose. He was alone in the haunted school, haunted by his memories and regrets. He imagined different scenarios for himself, some mundane, others dramatic. Sometimes he ate a sandwich, sometimes he contemplated suicide. He was caught in a loop of despair and madness. What did you think of the movie? Which scenario was your favorite? Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell for new videos. Thank you for watching, and until next time.